The Golden State franchise has put together a disgusting group of the hungriest dogs in the league, and after analyzing a couple of their early games and catching glimpses of the Warriors' ceiling, I'm convinced that almost nothing can stop this team. Almost. So, who is going to stop the Warriors this season? Hey, what's happening, everyone? This is Swish Culture. The Warriors roster build this year is one of the most intriguing in the league. While most teams have top-heavy rosters surrounded by role players and below-average players on the bench, the Warriors have done things a bit differently. If you take away Stephen Curry from the team, you could probably form two teams side by side that could be your starting five. As a matter of fact, you only have room for 8 rotation players in a typical team setting. Everyone else is there for contingencies such as injuries or absences, but outside of that, there just isn't enough room to have more players. There are at least 12, probably 13 players on the Warriors roster that should be in a team's regular rotation. I'll let you figure out who isn't exactly ready for prime time. So here's the problem. Is this Warriors roster so deep that it has become a problem instead of a solution? It's no secret that the team is stacked with talent, but is this quagmire shrouding the real solution that could take the Warriors to the next level? There's an argument to be made that the Warriors have enough talent to win a ton of regular season games, and they'll easily make the playoffs this year, whether or not they put a currently unknown all-star level player next to Stephen Curry. Do they, however, have the talent to win on the biggest stage in the playoffs or in the NBA Finals? A setting which will more than likely require the Warriors to forego 5 rotation-capable players. Today's video will discuss how the Warriors might struggle to win, the one thing that could stop them this season, and the solution to the Warriors winning a championship. Oh, and what are the chances of this actually happening? All that and more coming up. But before that, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Swish Culture for the most analytical and entertaining NBA content on the planet. Now get ready. You're about to get smashed. 28 threes in their second preseason game, with Buddy Hield hitting shots like this, off the dribble, hand in his face, and still drills it like he was in practice. He went 7 for 7 before he finally missed a shot, ending the night going 6 of 7 from distance. Buddy led the team in scoring with 22 points in 19 minutes, with one of the nastiest displays of shooting skills this side of a Stephen Curry warm-up drill. While Buddy was impressive, Jonathan Kuminga went 4 for 7 from deep with a stroke that looked as confident as the shooting percentage indicates. There was no hesitation, his shot was fluid, and best of all, they kept going in. Make no mistake, if Jonathan Kuminga continues to shoot like this, the league is in trouble. The Warriors would only need these 2 players to do this in the regular season, and it'd be a tough team to beat. When you look at the potential of the rest of the team, however, and realize that the talent coming off the bench could rival opponents' starting lineups, you really start to wonder about all the questions I asked in the beginning of this video. A few weeks back, we looked at the NBA's ranking of all the teams, and they had the Warriors ranked 7th in the Western Conference. We take that into consideration, add in a little bit of hate by Chuck, who says the Warriors are a playing team. This is a compliment, by the way. We look at all the problems the Warriors had last year, the number of games missed by key players, the number of games they still managed to win, 46, and put it all together. The Warriors' floor is a play-in team. What are the chances the Warriors hit their floor 2 years in a row? I have no idea, but I'll tell you this. If it does happen, neither Draymond Green nor Steve Kerr will get a chance to do it a third time. So outside of injuries, here are some of the major struggles the Warriors could face this season. Number 1, which is the most obvious, is finding minutes for the players. Even if Steve Kerr was the greatest coach in the history of basketball, there are still only 240 minutes to be distributed in an NBA game. Hypothetically speaking, if you give your starters just 30 minutes a game, that's 150 minutes, leaving you with 90 minutes for your bench. If you had 3 bench players, all 3 get 30 minutes, so what do you do if you have 8? Are we really going to give these grown men 11 minutes per game to catch a rhythm and execute? Last season, Stephen Curry played an average of 33 minutes per game, good for 50th most among all players in the NBA. Klay Thompson was second with less than 30. So despite multiple players missing a ton of games, the team struggled to find minutes for both Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga. With a more talented group of players available, this becomes more of a problem. While it might seem the issue is primarily with the shooting guard position, it sort of spills over everywhere else due to the overlaps in skill sets. Let's say Steve Kerr runs a group that consists of Curry, Wiggins, Kuminga, Draymond, and Looney. A second team would be Melton, Hield, Moody, Kyle, and Trace. You swap Curry and Melton, which one of these lineups would actually be better? With Pods, who had 8 assists against the Kings by the way, GP2, Waters III, and a 22-year-old Guy Santos rounding out the rest of the group, you start to get an idea of the size of the problem. If Kerr couldn't find minutes last year, as much as he and I have praised the team for their moves in the offseason, he might have a worse time this year at doing his job. While the absence of Klay takes a lot of pressure off of Kerr, he still has a number of guys looking for a role in Hield, Melton, and Anderson, and a number of guys who have been patient in Moody and Kuminga in terms of minutes, and Steph Curry in terms of support for the team's aspirations in winning a championship. This is the team's biggest struggle this season. As I've said before, this is a top 5 team in the West in the regular season. While they're stacked with talented players, they still lack the superstar power to have a guaranteed Western Conference or NBA Finals appearance. We've discussed in prior videos what it would take to accomplish this feat of acquiring players of the caliber they need to take the Warriors to the next level, from trading for this or that player to the return of Andrew Wiggins. Steve Kerr has indicated as much that Wiggins is on that trajectory, but until we see Wiggins on the floor, it's hard to tell for sure. The truth is that without that star power, all the talent on the Warriors would need some consolidation to maximize what the team does have. While it's possible to go far with this team, we've discussed the Warriors' contingencies that outline what options the team has. Well, now we'll talk about what they need to get there. While we can bank on a trade, this only matters if we have valuable players to trade. This means you need to showcase Pods, Moody, and Kuminga by giving them more minutes to increase their value. The front office held on to Pods to avoid trading him for Markkanen and didn't go all in on a package, offering only Moses Moody, meaning they have the confidence in these young guys. What does this mean for Steve Kerr? Give more minutes to Pods, Moody, and Kuminga. If all else fails and you can't land a trade by the deadline, you know what you have in your veterans, but you don't know what you have in your young players. If you want to make sure they have as much prep as possible in such a scenario for a postseason run, you need to ensure beforehand that you have been giving these 3 players minutes. Who are these 3 players that you need to prioritize to maximize their potential and determine if you need to let them go or max them out by the end of the season? Pods, Moody, and Kuminga. This seems like a really complex problem, but it becomes real simple once you've outlined your options. If those 3 guys can't land you a superstar and can't prove themselves by the end of the season given these opportunities, you let them go in free agency instead of dithering about whether or not they need to be re-signed. This leads us to the last point I'm going to make in today's video, and that is, what or who can stop this Warriors team? While I would give an honorable mention to Draymond, a potential absence could open doors for replacements. Kyle Anderson is perfectly suited for Draymond's role in terms of guarding 1 through 5, facilitating and hitting the occasional 3-pointer. Outside of that, he's 6'9", so at 3 inches taller than Draymond with a 7'3" wingspan, he's got a few advantages. So no, Draymond isn't the threat. The one thing that can stop Golden State this season is Steve Kerr. If Kerr doesn't maximize the window of the young players I mentioned above and give them an opportunity to sink or swim, he extends the window of uncertainty about the Warriors' 2 2021 lottery picks. What Steve Kerr needs to do is give Moody and Kuminga unlimited rope through All-Star break. If by that point they don't show that they can play at the level necessary to win, consolidate the team by trading them for a second All-Star that can be useful in the postseason. If they're as good as the rest of the mid-tier guys, trade whomever is on the downside of their careers and keep your younger guys. If they're better than your mid-tiers, continue playing them through the end of the year, but see if you can find a trade partner to maximize the value of the assets you're less likely to use in the playoffs. At the end of the day, the front office wants to know what these guys are capable of if they're given an opportunity, and I think I speak for everyone when I say neither of these players has been given anywhere near the chance I've seen players such as Killian Hayes receive with the Pistons. While the situations are different between the 2 teams, it highlights one of the very many reasons why you don't want to be a lottery pick on a team that still believes in the players it has that led them to the lottery in the first place. So at the first opportunity, you either go to a team that's trash where the coach has no other choice, or at least one that has space available and the coach has room for your skill set. If Steve Kerr does this right, the Warriors could have two high-level role players, possibly even an all-star, in Kuminga and or Moody next to Stephen Curry to roll into the postseason and make a deep run, going 10 deep with likely the best bench in the league. If he doesn't, the Warriors could end up battling for the 8th seed yet again. An angry fan base and a disappointing season that leaves questions unanswered regarding whether or not Moses Moody's and Jonathan Kuminga's careers were mishandled and whether or not they could have developed had they gotten a chance to play in their 4th years, all because Steve Kerr was more concerned about the team's floor than its ceiling. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with my idea to maximize the playing time of Kuminga, Moody, and Pods in order to evaluate them prior to the trade deadline? Post your thoughts in the comments below. But before you do that, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all your notifications so you don't miss any of my latest uploads. Thanks for watching. Till next time, swish.